Hello and welcome to this week's yoga video. And this week I have combined everything that I think is wonderful about yoga. So we've got a bit of yin yoga, that's where we start nice and cool and we stay in the poses just for a little while longer than normal, so we can really start to get into all those stuck places around the body. Then we're going to move into some yang yoga. That's where we keep moving. It's mainly led by the work of the muscles, but inspired by the breath. And then we're going to come to a little bit of restorative, where we slow the body down, we ease into that parasympathetic nervous system so we can encourage the body's natural healing process to do its magic. And obviously that ends with a nice relaxation. So to make things as enjoyable as possible, I would suggest that you have some props to hand, everyday props. So two cushions, some nice quite firm cushions, and maybe one blanket or a nice big towel if you haven't got a blanket to hand. And that's pretty much all you'll need apart from your body. So join me on the mat now and maybe put on your favourite slow music. So on the mat now, I've got my blanket rolled up a few times and I'm going to put my head on the blanket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the edge of the blanket just up to the shoulders to support my head so that everything along the spine is as comfortable as possible. And then I'm going to use these cushions to support my sleeping butterfly pose. Now, when I've done yin training, quite often we are told that if you only do one yin pose, make it butterfly pose. But I find, especially in the morning or when times feel a little bit stiff or that back's niggly, actually folding forward into a butterfly pose is not too enjoyable. But if we do it lying down, we still get that nice opening of the hips, and supported with those cushions, then we can find the most comfortable place to enter the butterfly zone. So let's begin by just getting comfortable. So we're just going to sit back and take the weight into the hands and get nice and comfortable on our backs. So we'll just adjust that blanket so that the edges meet the shoulders, and that will just lift the head up just a little. And what we're after is to try and keep this chin nice and level with the forehead. We don't want to be down here, we don't want to be up here, we want to be nice and level and neutral. And then we're just going to have those cushions to hand. And then we're going to bring the feet up as close as we comfortably can. And then take the soles of the feet together. And then we're going to put those cushions there to support the thighs. And then we're just going to ease those knees out to the side. Now, if you're not comfortable with the knees this low, what you can do is you can roll the cushions up and just bring them a little higher. So we're basically padding up those thighs, and we're going to let those knees just come a little higher. If you're happy for your knees to separate a little further. Or maybe you don't have any props and maybe you're happy and there's no strain in this groin area or on the low back. You can manage without the props, but it's so much nicer with the props. And with the yin poses, we're going to stay here for quite a while compared to a flow class. So we want to make sure that we're comfortable. And then we're just going to get those shoulder blades nice and comfy on the back. And then we're just going to rest the hands onto the belly. And then we're just going to settle. So just settling first. So that's an opportunity to scan around, see if we need to adjust the position. So imagine that you'd have to stay in this position for the next hour. What adjustments would you make to be able to be comfortable for an hour? Don't worry, we're not going to stay that long. And then we're just going to maybe begin with the hands onto the belly. But if this puts a strain on the shoulders, we could just take the arms out to the side. But beginning with the hands on the belly is a nice way to access the feedback of the breath. And we don't want to change anything. We just want to notice how our breath is right now. So just watch the breath through the feedback of the hands. When I say watch, what I really mean is to observe how you're breathing, whether the breath is fast or slow, whether it's smooth or a little jagged, whether the breaths are even in tone or whether they start to change. And that doesn't matter. We're just observing the breath. We're getting used to observing our bodies, our inner space, our temples. We can spend a lot of time in our heads with what ifs. But let's get real now. Let's notice what actually is, not what if. What is that breath. So I'll leave you just for a few rounds of breath, just to observe, without any judgment of what's right or wrong. It just is what it is. And then you may wish to keep the hands there. Or maybe we'll take the arms out to the side, the palms a little away from the body. Palms facing up. Let's relax those shoulders. And let's start to acquaint ourselves with the sensations in the body. So this butterfly pose is really targeting the hip area. It's an external rotation of the hips within its safe, normal range of movement. So just notice how the hips feel. The area around the pelvis. Spaces where the thighs meet the pelvis. That's the hips. Be aware of all the sensations below that hip socket joint. And as long as it's not painful, just see if you can just observe again without judgment. Maybe those sensations change as you watch. And then moving your awareness to the area just above the hip joints, between the hip joint and the navel. So the front area first, around this area, just notice how that feels. And then take your awareness to the back area, to the lower back area, around the sacrum. That fixed part of the spine. Sometimes the muscles around this area can get a little bit tight. And to just soften into that space. And then maybe you'd like to keep your arms there. Maybe we could take the arms out to the side in a kind of cactus shape. And by that I mean we like the arms like a cactus in the desert. So we elbows roughly in line with the shoulders and the wrists roughly in line with the elbows. Palms facing up. And take your awareness into the chest. Notice the effect of the breath in your chest area. And let's see, we can just slow the breath down a little. Lengthening the next inhale, lengthening the next exhale. And then just a normal breath. And then a long inhale. A long exhale. And a normal breath. Repeating that pattern of normal breath and extended breath for just this final minute in the pose. And ever so slowly, just taking the hands around the outsides of the thigh. Guide those knees in towards each other. And then slowly bring the right knee in. Give it a nice squeeze. And then slowly extend that right leg to the ceiling. And start to scrunch the toes and spread the toes out wide. Scrunch and spread. Scrunch and spread. And then slowly start to point the toes away from you. And then flexing the foot, bringing the toes back to you. Repeating this movement, nice and easy. And then bringing the right knee into the chest. Taking the sole of the right foot back to the ground. We'll repeat that with the left side. Inhale that left knee towards you. Exhale that left leg, so don't worry if there's a deep bend, that's fine. Scrunch the toes. Spread the toes. Scrunch. Spread. Scrunch. Spread. Scrunch. Spread. Point the toes away from you. And then flex the foot. knee towards you, bringing the right knee towards you, and then making some nice slow circles, massaging that low back. Moving one direction first, and then reverse. And then bringing the soles of the feet together onto the ground. Just shift yourself over to the right side, but take a cushion if you have one between the knees. And we're just going to arrange ourselves just in this embryo pose. We're just going to stay here. So you might want to move this shoulder. You might like to tuck it in. You might like to just come onto the side of the face and take that right arm out to the side. So just get nice and comfortable. Just a few more breaths. And let's see if you can keep your eyes closed. Pressing into the hand nearest to the face and then easing yourself up. And we're going to come to a table pose. So we're going to take those out of the way, take cushions away. And we're going to take the blanket away for a little while. You might need it in a moment. So just keep it handy. Wrists underneath the shoulders, middle finger pointing forward. Pressing lightly down through the fingertips. And then we're going to just slowly let the belly soften. And let those shoulder blades relax down the back. Let the head hang heavy. Let the sitting bones release behind you. Coming gently into a cow pose. Nice easy breath. And moving from the middle, we're going to round the back into a cat pose. Taking our time, just coming to that space where it feels good and nowhere more if it starts to feel too much. That one for me is starting to feel a bit of a strain, so just easing off. We don't have to go to our full range of movement. Keep the elbows soft. Again, we're just going to let the head hang heavy on this first round. And then slowly letting the belly soften. And this time maybe we'll just let the head just drift forward, so the gaze is just forward. And as we exhale, back to cat. And we'll bring the chin into the chest. Moving through these two. A few more rounds. Inhale into a cow pose. Exhale into a cat pose. And then we're going to come to a child's pose by sitting the hips onto the heels, taking the forehead down and walking the fingertips forward. And if this doesn't feel so nice for you, one way to make it a little easier can be to make a little roll with the blanket. Place it under the hips, or if there's problems with the knees, just bringing the blanket to behind the knees can ease any tension in those in those knees. And if you don't like your head too low, we can just plump up one of those cushions and we can lift the head up so there's less strain on the knees and the hips, maybe taking the side of the head onto the pillow. You may be just taking the edge of the forehead onto the pillow and the arms in front. So experiment a little. Notice how it differs when we start to reach the arms forward. We start to move into this area as well. When we hug in, we're just finding the nice stretch in the back without that added extra of the arms. So just be kind to your body. Notice what feels the best for your body. And then take your awareness to this area around the back. So 60% of our lungs sit on the back of the body. So let's imagine that we're trying to fill up those lungs with each inhale. And as we exhale, those lungs are starting to empty and let go of anything we don't need. On your next inhale, slowly come back up to all fours, removing any props. And then we're going to come into a standing pose. So if you don't like coming into downward dog, then just make your way to stand at the front of your mat. I'm going to come through downward dog, starting in table pose. So we're going to just walk the hands just a half a palm's length forward. Press down through the base of the index finger, the base of the thumb and the little finger. And then as you inhale, tuck the toes, lift the knees and keep the knees bent. Send those sitting bones up behind you. And then just start to bend one knee, stretch out the other leg. And then ever so gently, we're going to tiptoe the feet towards the hands. We're going to relax the knees. And then ever so slowly come up to stand, bringing the head up last of all. And we should all meet up now in our mountain pose. I'll just turn around so it's probably a better angle than my back angle. So we want the feet about hip width apart. And let's think about how we stand. So if we have our head forward, we're putting extra weight on our spine. And again, if we have our head back, we're putting extra weight on our spine. So we want our spine to be as comfortable as possible. So we want those ears level with the shoulders. We want the shoulders stacked above the hips. And we want the hips stacked above the ankles. So that will make us in a position to feel all those parts of the body as relaxed as possible with as little work, because with yoga, less is more. The less we do, the more we can feel and breathe, and that's where the benefits come. So just start to maybe just rock back and forth. So feel your weight shift forward and back, and then just come to that midpoint, and then just see if you can soften the knees a little. Lift the chin a little so it's parallel to the floor. And then just feel the difference as the weight of the body comes into the optimum position. So everything feels light and weightless. And as we inhale, float the arms up over the head. As we exhale, just float the arms down to the side. So you can either come through the midline, or you can inhale out to the sides and exhale down to the sides. See what feels the nicest for you. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So I'm just going to turn around so you can see me a little better. As we inhale next time, we're going to interlace the hands, press the palms up to the ceiling, soften the knees. And tip gently over to your right side, pressing the palms away. Maybe resting the weight of the head on that inner arm. Breathing. Inhale back to center. So we exhale, easing over to the other side. Again, resting the weight of the head on the crook of the arm. Inhale back to center. As we exhale, take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, press those knuckles down to the heels, lift the chin and chest, now look up. And as we exhale, bend the knees, let the sitting bones roll behind, Let the belly just soften over the thighs and let the arms find a position that's comfortable. And if it starts to feel uncomfortable on the arms, come into a ragdoll pose, letting the crown of the head point down. As your next exhale, release the hands down to the ground. We're going to meet up in a plank pose. So if you want to go into a knee down plank pose straight away, that's absolutely fine. If you're coming into a plank pose, the shoulders are above the wrists, middle fingers pointing forward. And we're just going to have a little rock back and forth. So softness in the elbows, softness in the knees. Relax the shoulders. And then coming to the still point, table. So plank pose, gazing just beyond the tips of the fingers in front of you. And then we'll all soften the knees. And we're going to lower belly, chest and chin. And we're going to come into our baby cobra. Palms underneath the shoulders. So let the legs just relax. They don't have to be together. Maybe those toes are rolling in together. Maybe the tops of feet are down. Relax everything below the waist. And then as you inhale, now start to just firm the pelvic area into the ground. Lift the heart, gaze forward. And as you exhale, slowly lower. Relaxing the legs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more. And then we're going to come back to table pose and back to child's pose. If you want to put the blanket underneath the knees or the hips, under the forehead, feel free. We're going to be here for a minute or so. And then just start to breathe into those lungs at the back, filling up with each inhale, expanding with each inhale. And as you exhale, just soften. Inhale, finding that space. And as you exhale, softening into that space. And then when you're ready, nice big inhale up to all fours. And then we're just going to ease onto the hips, swinging those legs gently forward. And we're going to come into a forward fold now. So I've avoided that forward fold sitting down by doing the butterfly pose, sitting, so lying down. Now, if it's uncomfortable, and for most people it probably is to fold forward, we're going to make a little roll with the blanket and just lift the hips just that little bit higher and take the legs out in front. We're going to bend the knees a little. And then we're going to just wrap the hands around the backs of the thighs. And we're going to come into a nice supportive, restorative forward fold. So as we inhale, we're going to lift the chin and chest. And as we exhale, we're just going to soften. Relax the head. And we're going to just see if we can stay here. Just for a minute or so. If we start to feel any pain in this low back area, we can just ease out and let's just straighten the legs, take a little bit of weight into the hands and just find baby back bend by lifting the heart and looking at the toes. If we're happy folding forward, maybe those heels might slide a little closer to the front of the mat. Feeling the belly gently pressing on the thighs as you inhale. And as you exhale, it just relaxes. One more big deep breath. Just releasing the hands. As you inhale, just slowly coming up and just easing that blanket out of the way. You're going to need it for the head now, so we're just going to put the blanket there. And we're going to just get hold of one of the cushions. We're going to ease our way onto the back again, nice and slowly, just bringing that blanket so the edge of the blanket is just level with the shoulders. And then we're going to roll the blanket in and make a little cocoon for the head. So we're going to just lift that up and just make a little mold so we can just take that blanket around the head. So the head feels nice and supportive. And then we're going to take the blanket and place it underneath the knees. And we want to let the heels find the floor. But we want to just give a little support underneath the backs of the knees. Just moving around. We might need to adjust the position. And let those little toes roll out to the side. Let those arms be a little away from the body, palms facing up. Chin parallel with the forehead, level, so we're not up or down. And coming into this restorative relaxation. So quite often in our yoga class, we usually limited to about 5 or 7 minutes in a relaxation class, in a yoga class. The benefits of a shavasana are so much more profound when we stay here for 20 minutes. So I'm going to switch off my voice now, and I'm going to add a voice over to guide you into a 20-minute relaxation. And if you're thinking I haven't got 20 minutes, just try. The benefits are so much more profound in 20 minutes. Feel the difference in your mind and your body afterwards. So rest easy, relax. So just noticing if you need to shift around the body a little more and find comfort in this nurturing place of presence. Fully aware of your physical body, but allowing it to relax. Becoming aware of your skin touching the floor, the support beneath you. And allow your bones to be heavy. Feel those muscles soften around them. Surrender into the undoing. Surrender to gravity and that need to hold on. Surrender everything. Let go. Allowing your breath to be just as it is. And as you become aware and present in this moment, allow yourself to embrace this journey of wholeness. Give yourself permission to just be in this moment, to let go. And now taking a moment to explore your body. Again, if you need to adjust to make it even more comfortable, just take that time to become as comfortable as possible. Gently inhale body to soften and relax into the mat. Nothing to do, nowhere to be. Bringing gentle and grateful awareness to your breath. Feeling your belly rise and fall with each inhalation and exhalation. Notice the texture of the breath as you inhale deeply and release fully. And allow yourself to feel the subtle dynamic of density and weightlessness. Melt like a puddle into the earth beneath you. Skin softening away from muscle, muscle melting away from bone, dissolving into calm, peacefulness. Feel the support of the earth holding you, providing everything you need in this moment. Knowing that the inhale and the exhale will happen when they need to. No effort needed in this balance of giving and receiving breath. Experience the body as an effortless breath. Leave behind the thoughts and worries you may have. Continue to relax with each breath in and each breath out. Feel the support of the earth. And I'll leave you here now for a little while longer to enjoy a silent Shavasana. And now, when you're ready, begin to deepen your breath. Slowly begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe giving yourself a nice long, nourishing stretch. Reaching the arms over the head. Bringing the feet together. And then maybe bringing the knees towards you, wrapping the hands around the shins. And then slowly, slowly, feeling your way gently back to a comfortable seated position. And just allow the hands to relax however they fall. Maybe keeping those eyes closed or just lowering your gaze to a single point of attention on the floor. Maybe shifting around side to side. And just feeling the weight of the body just connect with the ground. Bringing the palms together. Thank you very much for joining me in this practice. Namaste.